Hi, this is Alexis from No Plastic Please. In this short video, I'm going to be trying to explain to you why it's so important to cut out or try to cut down your plastic waste. Plastic, in its first form as a synthetic polymer, was actually invented in 1907, so this stuff has been around for a very long time. But actually, while many different uses were invented in the late 1920s and early 1930s, our use of plastic didn't really ramp up until the Second World War, where it was used for lightweight cockpits and planes, or synthetic polymers were used like nylon for parachute ropes and other uses. And plastic is an amazing material. It's durable, it's lightweight, it can be manipulated into the shapes that you want, and it has the properties that we desire. However, this stuff really sticks around forever, and it can cause harm to our environments and to ourselves. So I'm going to give you 5 quick reasons why you should try to cut out or cut down plastic in your life. Number 1. Did I mention it sticks around? That yogurt that you ate 10 years ago, the container is still here. Or that water bottle that you enjoyed 25 years ago, it's also still here. While plastic is not biodegradable, exposure to sun, wind, and water erosion will cause it to break up into smaller pieces. It doesn't actually go away. And once it's smaller, it becomes infinitely more difficult to recover, it can enter into the food chain, and it leaches up toxins in the soil and water. Number 2. Well, isn't it enough that I recycle? Unfortunately, recycling is still a very inefficient and energy-intensive process. There are 7 different types of plastic, which I've listed here, and while they all contain the recycling symbol, that symbol is a bit misleading. It's really used for people in the waste management industry to sort plastic and to find out which has to be landfilled and which can be genuinely recycled. The properties that we love and enjoy in plastic don't just come about by magic. There are specific chemical properties, and often that means mixing different types of plastic. With the current capacity of our recycling systems to deal with mixed plastic, often what happens is that the only 2 that are genuinely recycled are number 1 and number 2, PET and HDPE. In 2012, over 25.2 million tons of post-consumer plastic waste were collected in Europe. Only 26% of that was recycled, and 38% was sent straight to landfill. The rest was used for post-energy recovery. Unfortunately, recycling is a narrative that's really being pushed by plastic-making industries to make us feel better about our rampant consumption. But the 2 best solutions are, of course, always to refuse and reduce before using recycling as a last resort for anything else you can't get rid of. Number 3, the harm to our environment. While plastic has many bad impacts on land, and those should definitely be discussed, what I really want to discuss in this video is the impact on the marine environment. So plastic enters through our watersheds, through poorly controlled waste sites, through direct dumping, or through abandoned, lost, or discarded fishing gear. That usually happens at sea. Or what also happens is plastic can be too small to be caught by water treatment plants. So this is certainly true of microplastics and synthetic polymers that release millions of microfibers with each wash. A recent study showed that almost 8 million metric tons is entering the ocean directly every single year. And while there are many impacts on the marine environment, I just want to focus on the impacts on marine species. Firstly, entanglement. When a marine animal becomes entangled in marine debris, it can lead to starvation, suffocation, or with deep lacerations can lead to infections or even death. Ingestion, depending on where it ends up in the esophageal tube, can either lead to a direct blockage of the throat, or if it makes it to the stomach, plastic is taking up valuable space that could be used by nutritious food that's giving the animal energy. What often happens, and what we often find, especially in seabirds, is that they have died with a full stomach full of plastic, because often this colorful plastic looks exactly like the prey that they want to eat. Number 4, human health impacts. So the beginning of the plastic life, the properties that we know and love in plastic are actually made with using many toxic chemicals. For example, polyvinyl chloride, also known as PVC, which is used in cling film and children's toys, is a human carcinogen. Often the chemicals that we use in plastic are what we call endocrine disrupting chemicals, meaning that they impact the hormone and the natural balance of your body. The other area where plastic impacts us is at the end of life of plastics, where it's broken up into very small pieces called microplastics. These become bioavailable and move up the food chain, with fish eating other fish, and then we eat the final fish, and we're eating not only the microplastics but all the associated toxic chemicals that have been attracted to the plastic as it's been floating in the water. We have to remember that anything we're putting into the ocean, we're really putting into our own bodies, and so many people around the world, billions of people around the world, rely on fish as their main source of protein. Number 5, what is our legacy going to be? When you buy a plastic product, you're endorsing the petroleum industry, you're endorsing toxic chemicals, you're saying, yes, I love overflowing landfills. It's really important to think that as consumers, we have so much power to vote with our wallets. And plastic is a really interesting issue because so much of the problem can be changed just by lifestyle changes. So please consider cutting down or cutting out plastic for your health, for the health of your planet, and for the health of future generations to come. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you want any more information, please visit www.noplasticplease.wordpress.com. Thanks, and have a beautiful plastic-free day.